If a man lost all sexual desire after major surgery, oh my gosh, it would be breaking news. We would have a cure by now. But when a woman has a delivery, whichever way she does it, it's kind of normalized that she's not quite up for sex. And because of culture, religion, whatever you may have it, it's often ignored. And the women are often just pushing through and doing what needs to be done. Well, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't need to be like that. There are things that we can do to get our groove back. And that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. I'm Dr. Remi, an obstetrics and gynecology doctor who works in the NHS with over 10 years of experience. I'm building her health room, a place for postpartum women to heal fully, physically, mentally, and socially, whilst also optimizing for lifelong health. I want you to join me on this journey. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment down below. I want to have open conversations with you so that I can make videos with you in mind. In the description box below, you will see a postnatal recovery questionnaire. It will take about 2 minutes. Why don't you do it and use the information to inform you about where you are on your postpartum recovery journey? So this is a question no one really asked me after I had my first baby. But given my own experience, I've gone on to ask quite a few of my friends, and it might be a bit cheeky, but how long did it take you to have sex after having a baby? Not because of pressure, but because you actually felt like it. For me, it was a few months. And even when it did happen, it kind of felt odd. And that wasn't a reflection on my relationship, but more a reflection of how I recovered postpartum. And when I've spoken to other women, that's a really similar vibe. So I'm going to ask you, how long did it take you after delivery to want to have? Even till this day, I can't really pinpoint whether it was that I was tired, I was in pain, or my libido was just shot. And I think that speaks to how complex that is. The libido is informed not just by your physical recovery, but psychological, cultural pressures, social pressures, you name it. So there are so many things that go into this one question. And that's what I want to dive down into today. 6 weeks is a magic number, but just because your stitches may have healed, your bleeding may have stopped, that doesn't equal recovery. That doesn't equal feeling like yourself. It's not just hormones, it's not just physiology, it's like the whole picture. So as I was researching this video, I'm like, actually, let me break it down into the physical, the biological, the psychological, so the emotional, the social things that will all play a part to determine whether or not you feel like wanting to have sex after having a baby. So from a biological point of view, you've gone through potentially surgery or a vaginal delivery that might have required stitches on the perineum. And so with that, you may be experiencing pain, fear of the stitches themselves breaking down. But things that you can't control are the changes in your hormones. So like your estrogen levels drop and your testosterone levels drop as well. If you are breastfeeding, that further suppresses your estrogen and actually can cause dryness within the vagina. So these are just the physical things that will change that might make sex less appealing or less enjoyable. Or actually, let's just call it what it is, painful. From a psychological point of view, your body just doesn't feel the same, really. Like you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I don't even really recognize myself. And a lot about libido is to do with confidence and body confidence. And we all know all the things we consume online about this bounce back culture isn't true for everybody and may also play a part in how you see yourself in that recovery period. There might be a fear of pain. There might be the trauma itself of the delivery, whether it was a vaginal delivery or an abdominal delivery. It can be traumatizing, not necessarily having control of how that delivery process went. And that as well will play a part into where your psyche is at, which will ultimately affect all of those things. There might be mood swings, resentment, a bit of postnatal anxiety, postnatal depression, and things that I've already discussed on this channel before. So there are a variety of reasons that psychologically you might not be there. And then socially, which I think is also equally important, is pressure. Society, bounce back culture, maybe not feeling emotionally connected to your partner and feeling like there's a lack of support, not only from your partner, but from your social network. And again, all of these things are going to play a part. And I just think as women, we need to be really honest that It's not just our hormones, it's not just our mindset, but it's also the surroundings that we're in. Your environment actually matters. And I think the biggest problem is that no one really talks about this. I don't think. I definitely didn't have it. It's not in a way that's matter of fact, in a way that actually that act of sex is not just for your partner, but it's also for you to enjoy. And that sort of silence around it builds the shame, builds resentment, and builds years and years and years of it being ignored and almost normalizing that place of it's never enjoyable. And that's what I think we shouldn't be living with. We genuinely need to reclaim our power. So I've said before, the lifespan of women is long, but the health span is short. And I think all of this really contributes to health span and thriving, genuinely thriving after you've had a delivery. So now that I've broken down why it might happen, what can you actually do about it? I think the intervention for women is sparse, but it's growing. So again, from a physical point of view, where I might come in as a clinician, it's about checking why there are these levels of fatigues, if there are any other hormones at play. So that's checking for anemia, any issues within the thyroid, and if you are breastfeeding and there is low estrogen, whether there is some use in having topical vaginal estrogens to help overcome that vaginal dryness and help overcome that pain. Also making use of water-based lubricants that might make it more enjoyable for you. No, I didn't say tolerable. Thinking about the pelvic floor. So again, I've got a video about 7 things you need to know about in the postpartum, and empowering that pelvic floor and doing your pelvic floor exercises. Doing them now. Making sure that you're checking the vulva. So just because someone tells you that you're stitched up and good to go, doesn't mean there haven't been any defects that could be dealt with. So making sure that you're aware of the changes that have happened in your body and sort of reclaiming that back. I think one of the really important things is about emotional support, speaking to your partner, getting them to understand where it is you're coming from, the journey that you've been on. So just because they were there doesn't mean they're aware, and how they can help you overcome this period. And if you're finding that none of these 3 are enough, you can enlist the support of a physiotherapist, a psychosexual therapist as well, to help you reclaim those things. And I think ultimately it's about redefining what this season of life is for you. It's not for you to tolerate, it's not for you to endure, but it's for you to enjoy. And how do you do that? How do you do that within your community and within your setting? If you find that you're around women who really can't discuss these things openly, maybe getting yourself into a space where you're comfortable to discuss it, either in a group setting, because ultimately when you know that there are other women who are going through it like you, it really does change your perspective, because it's now not a you problem. It's a seasonal problem, and it's a problem that you can overcome. I want to hear from you. Are there any points in this video that are new to you, anything that you're going to take away, or anything that you would like to tell me that you want to add to the conversation? Because I'm always learning. I think it would also be really useful for somebody else who might be going through something similar in the comment. And like I said, I've got the free postnatal recovery quiz down below. If any of this resonates with you, why don't you take that quiz just to find out where you are on your recovery process, what you might need help with. Hopefully, Her Health Room will get to a place where we can build with you in mind.